Let me first say thank you to Senator Durbin, Chairman Durbin, and Senator Grassley for their work on this bill. I also want to thank my colleague on the other side of the aisle, Representative Klein, for being the Republican lead on the bill. The Bankruptcy Threshold Adjustment and Technical Corrections Act shows that we can still come together in a bipartisan and bicameral way and make common sense changes to the law that help small businesses on Main Street and everyday Americans. Before the COVID-19 pandemic, Mr. Speaker, many sole proprietors and middle-class families who live in high-cost living areas were ineligible to receive Chapter 13 bankruptcy protections because the debt limits were far too low. For many families, they were forced into bankruptcy who wanted to keep their homes, vehicles, or any other essential property and were willing to pay off their debts under court supervision. Chapter 13 is their only lifeline. The alternative for these families can be devastating. Many have lost everything, including their homes. The story is similar for small businesses. In 2019, the American Bankruptcy Institute Commission on Consumer Bankruptcy found that the artificially low Chapter 13 limits were driving people away from the relief that they needed, and they called on this Congress to act. Sole proprietors who could otherwise save their businesses and protect families have been forced to liquidate everything because they exceeded the debt limits of Chapter 13. The Small Business Reorganization Act of 2019, the SBRA, as the Speaker knows, created Subchapter 5 and Chapter 11 bankruptcy, a voluntary option for small businesses in need of expedited bankruptcy relief. But that low debt limit meant that many small businesses simply could not take advantage of the program. The travesty of the pandemic really brought the need to increase these debt limits into stark relief. The CARES Act raised the debt limit threshold under the SBRA. That was done on a bipartisan basis by this House, and it provided important protections to families and homeowners, but those provisions were temporary. My office has been contacted by countless professionals from all over the bankruptcy community expressing the need for this legislation. The National Conference of Bankruptcy Judges and Association of the Bankruptcy Judges of the United States have said that the SBRA was one of the best modifications to the bankruptcy code in recent years. It assisted nearly 3,000 small businesses across the country that were in need of expedited relief through the pandemic. The Office of the United States Trustee also reported that more than half of these small business debtors obtained successful outcomes through a confirmed reorganization plan in 6 months or less. Despite the success of this program, the debt limit increase under the SBRA expired earlier this year, just a few months ago, on March 27, 2022, which created an environment of uncertainty and unpredictability within the bankruptcy arena. Today's legislation retroactively restores that higher debt limit and extends it for another 2 years, allowing more businesses to take advantage of these protections under court supervision. The bill passed the Senate by unanimous consent, and I certainly hope that we can get a similar level of bipartisan support here in the House. The bill will make a big difference by allowing families to keep their homes, vehicles, and livelihoods intact while they repay their debt. With that, Mr. Speaker, I will reserve the balance of my time.